You're listening to I'm So Vain with Josh Carmichael, only on LA Talk Radio.
That's right. That's right. Here we go. My little warm-up song. Get everything going. Gets everybody pumped up. That's what I like. It's really for me, so I'm just letting you know it's all right. You know what? Live every moment until you die. That's what it's all about. Here we go. Hey guys, welcome to I'm So Vain. It's 11 a.m. as you know on a Tuesday. We have a really cool show for you today. We got a legendary casting director, but before I bring her in, I wanted to say a special thanks to one of our sponsors, one of our new sponsors who gave us a really generous donation for our show. The Health Nut. The Health Nut is actually here in Sherman Oaks and in Woodland Hills. If you haven't been there, it's the healthnutla.com. Check them out online. It's been one of my favorite places to eat since 2005, and I think they've been around a little bit longer than that. It started as kind of a nutrition shop, and then they started making salads and just really healthy, clean meals. So I used to live in Woodland Hills, so I would go to the one in Woodland Hills a lot. It's a great store, a great cafe, because it's pretty much now just a cafe. I think the vitamins are all gone. It's all food-based. It's just really clean, healthy living. So California food lovers, there you go. The healthnutla.com. Check it out. And thanks again, you guys. We'll definitely be in there to see you again soon. So appreciate that. Let's see what we have here. Want to make sure you guys are checking into our YouTube page. We know we're live on LA Talk Radio right now, but also check out our YouTube page. I'm So Vain on YouTube. Please subscribe, hit that like button, hit the bell. Let us know what you like and what you don't like about the show. Yeah, we'll take negative comments, whatever. We'll take them all. You know why? Because they all count. Everybody counts. This is all for you guys. This is what we're doing this for, to motivate you, to inspire you. Hopefully you'll get something out of it. Today, I think you're going to learn a lot about the entertainment business. You're going to learn a lot about casting and acting and what to do and how to prepare for, for booking or for auditions, because the between Charisse and myself, I think we have a few decades of experience here. We're gonna share with you, but you're gonna hear from a professional, from a casting director that's been in the business since 1986. She also has a weekly blog called The Let Go. You can check that out at theletgo.com. It's also CharisseGlennCasting.com. Please check her out. You're going to get to know her here. I think you're going to love it and enjoy. And again, during this or after this, please let us know any other questions, any follow-up you'd like to know, any other questions you have, and we'll get to those. So without further ado, let me introduce a legendary casting director and a good friend of mine, Charisse Glenn, everyone. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the show.
Hi, everybody.
So here we are.
Hi, I'm going to kick off my shoes and get comfy.
Yeah, get comfy. Sit back, relax, whatever. Just remember to talk into the mic. And
I will do that. Okay.
Use your big voice, your big casting voice when you
Yes.
come out in the room and have to yell at everybody. And that's not something you do. But so thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you here. So what's going on in the casting world today? I mean,
Wow.
you've been doing this since 1986.
Since 1986, my mother was a casting director for many years before that. She was actually, how the business started was casting was done at the advertising agency.
Uh-huh.
So she worked.
You're maybe a little soft. You may have to speak up just or get a little closer to the mic.
So casting started at advertising agencies. So it's all in-house.
Right.
And so she worked at an agency. And then agency said, nope, we don't want to do this. It went to production companies. And then they said, nope, we don't want to do this. And it went freelance. So my mother was one of the first freelance casting directors in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
Way back when.
Way back when.
And anyway, so I was kind of born and raised in the business. My dad's a stuntman. Well, he's passed away, was a stuntman. So I was fortunate to be able to see the business from a lot of different angles, and it opened my eyes to a lot of things of what to do, what not to do.
Right.
I think what you learn most is what not to do.
Right.
Because what to do has a huge, a huge range of what's good.
Right. So when you see, so it's like, for example, you're watching all the auditions and stuff. Do you see like actors? And I ran camera for some commercial people years ago, and I would notice, and I'm just wondering what it was like for you. I would notice that people come in for a callback, and they totally blow it. Like the nerves or whatever would take over. Do you see like certain things happen like that, or do you see it coming in a way, like they may be first on the producer's list or whatever, and then they blow it in a callback?
Yeah, it happens all the time.
So, what would you say to somebody that has a callback or a second callback or a third callback? Is there any kind of advice or kind of coaching or prepping that they could do to?
I think it goes way before the callback happens. I think it goes to the core of what our business is about, and how our business is changing right now is we're getting a lot of non-professional people coming in to be actors.
That's
because
true.
They want to be celebrities, they want to be on the big screen, but they haven't done their homework to really develop the skills.
So there is a skill to it, right? There's
yeah.
You can't just walk in. Well, I know, because I've had so many people say, and it seems like everywhere you go, once you have a little bit of a reputation of being in the commercials, been my biggest thing for me. And they go, well, how do I get an agent? I mean, before they don't even think about. What do I learn?
Where's the camera?
Yeah. Like, how do I slate? Nothing. They don't even think about that. Just go, how do I get an agent? Thinking that the agent does everything for you. But
no.
As we were talking before we went on, a lot of agents don't do the homework and do the casting or the presentation like they used to.
Right. Okay. So the biggest misconception in the business is that the agent you work for the agent. The agent actually works for you.
Correct.
Right? Because they're making money off of you working. Having said that, old school agents and new school agents are completely different, because a lot of the new school agents don't really understand how it all works.
Right.
The old school agents, they all had to work their way up in the business, and the business has changed so much.
Right.
So what I would say to a person who wants to be an actor is go get some acting skills. Go into a class or 2 or 3. Understand what it takes, because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I think I do think there's some great. I had to take an acting workshop before I started, and actually this is a nice segue to talk about the casting director that passed away recently, because I had signed with an agent, my very first agent, and they said, I'd taken acting classes, but I didn't know commercial. So they said, you have to take this. It was Lisa Pantone's commercial weekend. So Lisa, if you're listening, I love you and thank
Lisa.
you. Yeah. Lisa's one of the old school ones, and one of the great ones. So she's like family to me as well. So
she also really liked actors. And
she does. She has such a passion for it, and so I took her weekend course, and I think she used to use me as an example. So I think I went on as it's like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or a Friday, Saturday, or something, and then on Tuesday the next week, I had my first audition, which was at Sheila Manning's for a Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial, and I got in straight to callback, and I booked it, my very first audition out in L.A., and very first commercial I ever booked, and it was the National KFC, and it really changed my life. And I want to say, Sheila Manning, we lost over the weekend, I think, or Friday or Saturday, and just want to say, rest in peace. She was a legend, literally, in this business. She was one of the ones that it seemed like everybody knew. I think you had a personal relationship with her as well. You knew her very well, and I really, she was an interesting character. She either loved you or hated you. I always knew, like, people go, I never get into Sheila Manning, and I'm like, well, I do, and I'm like, well, you're one of the lucky ones, but I really,
all casting directors kind of have.
Do you have your favorites?
Yeah,
do have your favorites?
Of course.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I was on the list for most of them, but
the favorites may change according to what you're looking for, but there's certain actors that have a really big range of what they're able to do.
Yeah.
And so when they pop up on your submissions, you're like, okay, they're going into the in-pile because they may not be physically 100%, but their acting is so amazing that they can transform into all these different characters.
Right.
So for
Well,
sure.
remember
and they make you look good.
Yeah.
Good actors make you look
that's
good.
that's I used to. I remember I would get you. I felt like I was used for that quite a bit because they would bring me in. I'm not going to say the people, but they would bring me in and put me on tape, and I would go home and I'm like, I'm not right for that role, and they're like, Josh, they just wanted the tape to look good. They wanted to throw you in, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm one of those go-to guys now. Well, I'm grateful for that, but what was I going to say?
So Sheila's up there looking at headshots, throwing them off the table, like old school, when we actually had headshots.
Yeah, when you remember you had to, God, I remember printing like 500 headshots.
Stacks.
Well, I was going to say too, back then, or at least when I started in 1990, it was called commercial modeling then. It was more like, and technically it was all pretty people in the ads.
What year?
1990?
Okay, maybe 90 it started to shift. It changed so much.
Yeah, I just remembered it was all models and everybody it was like all the beer commercials and all this and everything was all about the beauty and the essence of, it's like all of those things. So that's what I remember. I was like, and honestly, it wasn't considered as really legitimate acting when I started, because I was doing theater at the same time, and like, yeah, but you're a commercial model. I'm like, no, I'm an actor. I'm a commercial actor. I'm like, no, it's commercial modeling. I'm like, no, it's not. But
it's interesting because when my mother was casting, she would bring in, it was all spokespeople at that time, and you had to know your stuff. You had to do 60 seconds of copy perfectly. So her whole day, maybe 20 people, maybe 25 on a big day, and callbacks would be 3.
3 people in a callback?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like that. That would be awesome.
And so...
Wow. Now what is it?
Okay,
what do you see in a day now? Like 100 or something?
If it's a spokesperson, you have a lot of copy. You can't see that many, but maybe 60 to 100.
Okay.
But if it's looks... I try not to see more than 100 and some change, but some casting directors will see 300 people. But callbacks may also, and that's over several days.
And callbacks are like 25 people per category now or something, isn't it? It could be a lot.
25 per category is like, you're happy that it's that
That's
little.
low? Wow, okay.
Yeah, so it's crazy. But what I was going to say about the commercial acting, so when I first, I was living in Paris before I came here, and I swore I'd never be a casting director. I ran away from it my whole life, and I ended up in Paris, and I ran out of money. And so I'll go back to LA, I'll work for my mom, I'll then move to some exotic place.
Right.
And I got here, and she said, well, if you're going to be here, why don't you get an agent? And I'm like, I'm phobic to have my photo taken, right? I hate having my photo. So I thought, okay, yeah, why not? So I went in, and they said, great, there's an audition right now. It's like, my mom said, go. So I went, I booked it, and all I had to do was smile. So that was easy.
That was easy.
But it was for Sheraton Hotels. It ran 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
It was a really good spot.
That's a game changer.
It was a game changer. It made me stay in LA. But on the set, there was another actor on the set that was another agent in my agency, her husband. And she said, take care of Charisse. He shot first.
Oh, right.
He was released after an hour.
Right.
I shot last. He stayed 8 hours to sit with me and tell me, okay, there's this, there's that, this is what you do.
So he taught you how to do it, basically.
It was like on-the-job training.
Wow, that's great.
And then 3 days later, I booked another spot.
Wow.
So I thought, okay, this
So-
is so easy.
Yeah,
What's
no,
the problem with
yeah.
this? Well, then I learned,
Yeah.
that it's not that easy. It was really beginner's
It's nice.
luck.
I think it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think remember they used to say it all comes in threes, and I'd like book 3 in a row or whatever. And
But those
and
were the old days.
Yeah.
The business has changed so dramatically.
no,
So-
it's now the odds are stacked. Quite, the way like if you're booking 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 10, if you're a booker, saying if you're you're in the that's pretty
being a
good.
booker.
That's really good.
Okay, the average is 1 out of 80.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I feel good then.
Yeah, so 1 out of 80. Imagine that. Some actors don't have 80 auditions in a year.
Wow.
It's a 1 out of 80.
Yeah.
But getting back to like
I don't think I get 80 auditions anymore. They used to be like we get like 5 auditions a day.
well, I never did because I was
Remember
always
that?
casting.
Well,
But
yeah,
yeah,
but when
yeah.
that was my life. It was I for like 10 years. I had a good 10-year run. I mean, it's been my life for.
But getting back
Yeah.
to what we were saying about the.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I
no, it's
meander.
okay.
I go off.
It's all right.
That's what I do.
I'll keep you straight.
So many
Oh.
so many topics here. We have such limited
I
time,
know.
and so
This
there's
is-
such a plethora of information. And
But talking about being professional, so you and I both kind of were not that, but I have to just to.
can fall into it. That
Well,
way.
you can fall into it, but I'd spent so much time in a casting office that I didn't feel like I was a novice.
Right,
I
yeah,
knew
yeah.
what it meant to walk into the room, slate your name, do profiles. I knew where my light was, I knew where the
Right.
camera was. I knew a lot of the things because I was basically raised in a casting office.
Yeah.
But what the problem is now is actors. So let's say they've got a great look, and it's the new hip look because the looks change,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
As time goes on,
Yeah, yeah.
beards work now, and
Yeah.
sometimes beards didn't work.
Oh yeah.
So people change, looks change. So let's say the actor gets an agent, like a friend of mine.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got her an
Recently,
agent.
yeah.
She doesn't know anything about how to do it. So
Right.
she got an audition. The day she got her agent, she got an audition.
Oh wow.
She went in, and they're saying, do this, do that.
And she had
put
no
the-
idea
and
what they meant.
she had to wash her hair, like pretend to wash her hair. Well, the camera was right here. So they're going to make your movements smaller. And I thought, oh, of course, because she doesn't understand the closer the camera comes, the smaller your movements
Right,
become, right? You're not blinking as much. You're not smiling as large. You're not moving your head because all of that
It's
is so jarring, right?
exaggerated. Yeah, it's so tight. By the way, that's a good point to say. I would suggest, tell me if I'm right or wrong, some sort of miming class
I think
is
an
helpful.
improv class for
Improv
sure.
or some. I don't mean mime
No,
like a
mime
clown
like
mime.
that.
No, but where you're, what do you call it? Like what's
Well, what
improvising, but it's like. Because there's
How
so
to
many
use
things. So like,
props
okay,
and-
you got to drive a car, and you're looking out here, and then you have
Well, honestly,
imaginary
Josh,
tools. What do you?
I would say you get into a really good on-camera commercial class.
Okay.
That is teaching you. Okay, we're 2 people here, and
We're-
we're going to.
What are we doing? We're toasting?
We're going to toast,
Toast.
but this is the product.
Right.
Right. So you're not going to hold it this way.
But yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and
You're
I have
gonna-
mine backwards. Yes.
Right, so you're going to hold it so the product's out.
Product's out, yeah.
And you have to do it so naturally, and then you
Yeah.
toast, but you're not going to
Cheers.
toast
You-
here,
and you
right?
don't drink out of the ones that you're on
Yeah, not
auditioning
drink-
with, right?
Exactly.
That's the whole thing.
Right, and when you
So
hold
you're
it,
faking it, and
you're faking it, but you're not going to hold it here because
Right.
you have to see your face.
got to see your face.
So there's
So little technical things like and look, and that is adjustable on set, but you want to make it look natural. Like, hey, we're a coffee company, and we're having a cup of coffee, and we're
Right.
just talking, and then
And
you take that
mm,
sip
good.
wherever it goes, right?
Right.
You don't go, you just pick it up and sip it. Nobody does that.
Right.
You might go, oh, especially when we're in conversation. So that's a technique that I think you have to learn over time too.
and you have to
But
practice.
but the classes definitely will.
Yeah.
I know there's some great commercial workshops now and some commercial. I wish I had the names of people, or you might know some people, but you can throw them out if you want. I don't know the top commercial classes, but
there's
a lot of some
Yeah.
casting. Do you teach classes, or
I
have you
used
done
to
that?
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love teaching on camera.
Well, it's a good time to
classes.
promote your new class that
I
you're
know,
wanting
right?
to teach, right? So
I'm not sure that's where I'm going to go, but what I loved doing was teaching because I love dialogue. I'm a word person. I write. Words
Right.
are like my life, and I loved dialogue spots on camera because you really had to be precise.
Yeah.
And to get back to when they said, oh, commercial actors aren't real actors, the fact of the matter is commercial actors have to be so specific because you have 15 seconds, 30 seconds, or 60 seconds to do the whole story. Yeah. And you don't have a lot of leeway to do all the other stuff that they'll use in a movie or a TV show. Yeah, so you have to be so specific.
You have to tell a story in 20 seconds or 30 seconds or 15 seconds.
With a gleam in your eye, with a look down, with a smile, with a glance side, whatever it is. But you have to be specific because then you have to do it over and over and over. Oh,
you got to hit that mark every time.
Right?
You know, it's funny. I remember my first job. I remember back to one was something I'd never known because I didn't learn that in class. And I'm like, and I would go and I would just follow the other actors, and I was like, "What's back to one mean?" I'm like, "Shoot, I don't know," because I didn't have the that's funny. That's the one that got me. And I'm like, "What does that mean?" But you quickly figure it out, and if you just kind of sit back and watch, and I love to learn, so I was always watching the director and the set and the setup and where the lights were going to be, and I kind of saw my stand-in go through it, and I would go, "Oh, that's the best way," because I know where they're going.
You know what?
And you can figure it out.
Being they don't call them extras now, they call them background artists. If you're new to the business, there's nothing better than being a background person when you're on set and you are watching and you are taking notes of what the lingo is and who the people, what's a
and
gaffer,
some people make a living off of that. I mean, I've worked with people, they say I'm a professional extra, now it's called background, but like you said, it was called extra work, and now they're background performers, and it's a good rate for the day. I mean, where else are you going to make $360 or whatever it is? Yeah,
background.
Yeah,
and you have healthcare, and
that's the good news. And I agree. Being that's so when I first started, I threw myself into theater because I came from the farm and no training whatsoever. I mean, I was raised with animals. So when
you became an animal.
I became an animal. I did. There was a commercial director, blanking out his name for a minute, but he used to make you act like animals in the callback, and it'd be like, oh, this is kind of fun. This is like child's play again. So you'd like pick an animal and you just act out these animals. But I threw myself into theater because I thought that was the best way, and it was. I always tell everyone when I was coaching, I would tell my students, do theater, because it's the best way to learn acting. It's the best way to learn, how to get in touch with a character and how to develop a character. And for the most part, it's free. You're not paying for a class, or you're getting paid. And for me, that helped me probably be grounded in myself more. So then you can go out, and because commercials are, I always said, here's the difference between commercial and like theatrical auditions. Commercials are quick, funny, and fast. In my opinion,
hopefully
for the most part.
Funny.
What's that?
Hopefully they're funny.
Yeah, well, yeah, they try to be funny. But I'm just saying that they don't like you never take drama stories into a commercial audition. You don't tell about the car accident you got into on the way, or the whatever, or the sob stories. They always want you to be happy
and aspirational.
And aspirational. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, I just came from whatever, and like, because a lot of the commercials or a lot of the questions in an audition are, hey, what do you like to do for fun, right? That's one.
Yeah, sometimes.
A lot, so at least a lot of them like, or they'll say, Josh, what do you do when you're not here? Meaning they want to see your personality. That's the other part.
Checks,
so
sure.
Personality is good. So if you come in and go, well, I don't really do anything, I have a job that I don't like. Well, guess what? It's kind of like energy. They're the higher vibration or the higher energy you have for commercials. And I'm just saying this from a commercial actor. They're gonna book you for that, and I always say just bring yourself into that. So whatever your energy is, and naturally, well, you're gonna be anxious, you're gonna be nervous, you're gonna be excited, whatever that is. Bring that in and let that be a part of it. Without being all nervous and shaking. But let that out, let the fun side out. Mm-hmm. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how I book, but
not everybody has your personality, right? So
there's only one me. Yes, of course. I've learned that over time. But
so some people that are not as gregarious as you are, they need the repetition, and I think theatrical, doing theater, I think it's fantastic. I think taking a legit acting class,
Right.
amazing.
Very good. Yeah.
Amazing. I took a class for 2 years just to know who I was. And the goal was just to, like,
It's the best
dissect
therapy you
me.
could ever
Oh,
do,
best
right?
therapy.
I always say it's
5 days a week.
between the gym and acting classes, best therapy
Yeah.
I've ever had.
Every
Truly.
5 nights a week.
Because
for
you're doing
years.
it.
But what I want to say is,
Yeah.
but with commercials, as great as it is to dissect who you are, and part of it is about my blog, The Let Go, it's about letting go of all this stuff that you no longer
Right.
get to hold on to. You have to come into a commercial class kind of without that junk, because the junk shows through. Even if you're trying to be happy and
Absolutely.
you've got sadness behind your eyes, it's going to show through, especially with the cameras right here.
Yeah.
You can't lie, because the camera does not lie.
It doesn't.
Right?
That's
so
true.
to get through the theatrical, fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Absolutely.
yeah. Theatrical stuff. They want to see the drama. They want to see the
no,
conflict.
No. I'm saying
right?
for a commercial
Oh,
actor.
for commercial,
For a
right.
commercial actor, absolutely take a theatrical class. But then you have to take a commercial class, because what you do theatrically is completely different for the camera than
Right.
what you do commercially. And
I
it's
agree.
a technique that needs to be learned, and you can't learn it unless you do it.
When also a lot of the commercials are down the barrel, right? Or down there, you're looking at camera right
Yeah,
above
looking
camera.
like- yeah,
depending
off-
if you're,
off camera.
I know a lot of spokesperson things that I go up for. They're like, just play it to camera. So I do this though. I never look right at the lens.
Yeah, generally you don't. You look above the lens to the
Or
side,
to
or
the
to
side,
that,
yeah,
where that
yeah.
clock is.
So I always try to, and like we're looking at a camera right now, so I'm looking at the viewfinder, and kind of like the top part of that. So
Yeah.
my eye line should be
Okay, but that's
looking
a,
at camera.
okay. That's
Is
a
that-
real, that's
is that a good tip?
That's a good tip, but that's a really good tip. So, if you were a novice, I was a novice. We go into a casting and they go, "Okay, you guys, you're both looking at the same thing."
Yeah.
So you have to be looking at the same
You
thing.
have to have an
right?
X, or you have to have a mark there. Yeah.
You either have a mark or you choose. I'm looking
Or
at the
like the-
7. What are you looking at? Okay, look
Right.
at the 7 too.
Yeah.
So we all look at the 7.
Yeah.
You know, so those little things, they seem so.
You know, I can say that's
mundane.
kind of the hardest thing when you're working with somebody. And I audition, and I always come out and I go, God, that person wasn't good. They weren't there with me. And even in a callback, and I remember, well, on like the Humira job that I booked, I kept going with the same woman, and I'm like, I didn't feel the chemistry. I didn't feel it. She didn't get it. This other woman I went in with later got the spot. So then you kind of felt, oh yeah, she knows what she's doing. But it's hard, and we had to do this eye line where we had to walk and follow like the horses walking up into the sunset. Excuse me. And so that's hard for two people when there's nothing moving out there, and you're trying to get your eye line to kind of go at the same rate, and we're like, okay, we're ending up over here. It looks weird if you're both going different directions,
Yeah, you've
right?
gotta be
So
on track.
that's a tough one to do just in general. But so you said like casting is changing a lot now today. It's all done online pretty much, right? So the agent's sitting at a computer and they're seeing the breakdowns. I mean, tell us the process a little bit. How does it work now?
Okay, so the whole process of a commercial is there's a client, they hire an advertising agency. The advertising agency makes the concept of the commercial. Then they shop around that concept of a commercial to several directors who are represented by production companies, and then those directors give them their input, and then they narrow it down again, and then more input, and then they choose one. So then the director has his input of what the specs, the
Right.
specifications, what the commercial looks like. So we want a guy, yada, yada, yada. We want a woman. We want a kid. We want this, that, the other.
Right.
I send that out online now. It used to be by phone call.
Right.
Then it was by fax.
Wow.
Yeah. It was,
It's a little easier, a
cast-
little faster now, isn't it?
Well, it's faster, but it's different. So I did a pre-fax. So it was literally you called every agent and you read every part to every agent.
Wow.
But
It was, I had no idea how much.
Yeah.
There was a lot of work. Like
so much prep, and then the agents would then give it to pull who they want, and then there was a guy in the mail room pulling all the pictures, putting them in an envelope, and then driving them to the casting director.
remember the
to-
delivery services? Yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
to-
And
to
you guys
drop
would go
off.
through.
We had to go
oh,
through. So we bypassed all that. So it goes to the agent. The agent submits who they want. The problem with online, it's free, they're not paying for the headshots. They're not paying for the delivery service. So
Right.
the agents have gotten less specific about, really, this is what she wants. This person really isn't right, but let's see if she'll
They just throw
bite.
everybody in.
So they throw everybody. So it makes my job or casting director's jobs even harder, because now let's say out of one part, there's 1,000 people that were submitted. Sometimes there's 5,000 people submitted.
Wow.
Sometimes there's hundreds if it's a very specific thing. But let's say 1,000 people. Okay, think about these numbers.
You don't
So-
have time to go through. How do you do that?
Well, I generally try to look.
Go through most of them?
Yeah,
or-
I mean, sometimes I'll just stay with certain agents if it's a certain look I know I'm looking for. But I try to be
Okay,
kind.
because can I interrupt for 1 second? So, say somebody new coming into the mix, and they've never been seen before. Is it harder for?
Well, they've got to have a dynamite picture.
Yeah,
And they
picture's
have to
definitely
and they have
really
to be
important.
submitted on the appropriate thing to their look. And if it's a super good agent, they'll call and go,
They'll do a little pitch on
take
them.
a look at so and so.
Right. Okay.
I think they're
so
making
some
good
agents still do the pitch thing. They will
Some
still
do.
call or email whatever and pitch it. Okay.
Yeah, I love it when they pitch.
Because I'm just wondering, because people ask me all the time, I'm like, I'm glad I'm not just getting in the business now. I think it would be really tough because the competition is.
Well, I want to address that.
Yeah.
But first, so
Yeah,
okay,
go
so
on.
out of 1,000 people, I look through, and you can, people have their own way of selecting.
Right.
So let's say out of the 1,000 people, I have 100 potential for that part, but I'm only going to bring in 20. So out of the 1,000,
Wow.
I get down to 20, and the 20, let's say it's a couple. So I have the men, I have the women. I need them to look a certain way together.
Right. So you pair them up
so
right
I pair
there.
them up
Okay.
on my online on my website, send it out to the agents, and then they come back. So there's two things I want to say here. One is you've got to have really accurate photos of what you look like today.
Right.
Not what you look like 5 years ago, not what you look like before you cut your hair or grew your hair or got gray in your beard or put on 30 pounds or lost 30 pounds.
Right.
I need to know what you look like right now.
Yeah,
Because
so-
otherwise it's a waste of my time if it's not being represented correctly.
So you hear that, actors and models out there, update your photos. Good headshots. It's
Be
very important to
realistic.
keep that up.
Be realistic.
Because if you feel like you're not getting the auditions and stuff that you think you should be, then that could be a big part of it, right?
Okay, that's a great. So this is digressing, but I got an actor came in.
Uh-huh.
She was supposed to be like what we would have called a beer girl, hot.
Oh yeah,
hot
yeah.
girl.
I like it. That used to be
that used to be
that's a
category.
PC reference. I
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
That used to,
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody.
No, that's
sorry.
good.
So she came in, it's like she so doesn't look that. So
Right.
to be nice, I took her headshot and I took a JPEG from the video.
Uh-huh.
I sent it to her agent. I said, I don't know if you've seen her recently, but she no longer looks this category. She
Right.
really has jumped to the next category, which is young moms.
Right.
Long story short, that email got sent to her. Then that email sent to her got sent to one of my ex-assistants.
Oh,
And the
no.
woman says to my ex-assistant, Charisse hates me.
Oh,
and
no.
and then my ex-assistant calls me and she goes, talked about, she got new headshots
Oh,
because
good.
she was using her headshots from 4 children before.
Oh my gosh.
She'd had 4 children
Yeah.
in between those
Oh, wow.
headshots.
Yeah,
So-
that'll change you.
And she looked great.
I'm not a woman, but
Yeah.
I know the changes.
Yeah. But she's a young mom, and she's
yeah.
going to work a lot as
Yeah,
a young mom.
yeah,
but she's not going
definitely.
to be a.
She just had to change
Yeah.
it. Well, it's funny, unfortunately, actors are very sensitive. We're the most secure type in the entertainment business, so we probably do take those things personally. I don't think that ever. In a personal note, I don't think I ever thought people hated me. I would always blame it on my agent. Like, they're not submitting me, because why am I not going in for this?
Yeah.
But I don't know I don't know if I do think there's because as you get older, categories change. I let my hair go gray. I started working more, which is really weird.
Well, for now, it's the best category to be in. It's an
good.
older person that is willing to go gray, because I just shot a commercial, which I hadn't done anything
Yay.
on camera. Yay.
Congratulations.
I know, right?
Yeah. Celebrate. Cheers to that.
Yeah, let's cheers to that. Where's my
Cheers.
logo?
Yeah.
Cheers.
You got your logo? This is the I'm So Vain logo, just so you know. By the way, everyone who is a guest on our show gets a free mug.
Yeah.
So that's our parting gift.
So I shot a commercial recently because they were specifically looking for older people that were willing to say how old they are. I'm 62. On camera with dialogue, and the part I got, I was hiking, and so they wanted people fit. I was literally running up
Yeah.
rocks and the spine of rocks, and it was really fun. But that kind of segues into a really important part right now with commercials. 20 years ago, you wouldn't have been working gray.
No, nor would you be saying your age, right?
Nor would you be saying your age
Like, no,
at all.
that's.
But what's happening is that it's right now. It's happening right now.
That's great.
So last year, 2 years ago, I wrote a TED Talk on aging in our business. And the problem is advertisers, my specs are a 60-year-old woman. When I bring in 60-year-old women, they're too young. So what their impression is, they want 75 or 80-year-olds to play the 60-year-old part, because that's their idea of what a 60-year-old is.
Wow.
So it's the advertisers, not the agency, but the advertisers, the products, that have a misconstrued idea of what our age, you're a little younger than me, but our age people look like. So over last year and this year specifically, I see such a huge change. Is now they're actually looking for people that look good, that are fit, that actually represent us. I don't wear sweater suits and comfortable shoes.
Yeah.
You know, that's not who I am.
Yeah,
but that's who the
you're
advertisers.
You're like California, comfortable, cool. You know, you're still hip and stuff too. But you've always had a cool style about you, and since I've known you, and you know that I'm happy to hear that natural thing is coming in.
Well, you know, I say anybody out there that's in their 50s that wants to start doing this, they should, because there's a lack. They cannot find.
Just let it. So for women, because it's bigger for women than it is for men. I mean, men. I do know a lot of guys that still color their hair and whatnot, and still try to look. And I did it for years. Because I was. And I'm not all gray yet, but I'm partially gray.
It behooves you to just go natural.
And I was just like, I finally got tired of I'll be honest, the hair coloring, and I had it done professionally, but the turning of orange, or the when it starts to go gray in there, and I'm like, it makes my skin look red. It makes me look weird, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So I said, screw it, I'm going to do it. And as soon as I let my hair go gray, I started. It's been 2 years now, or 2.5 years. I booked more in the last 2 years than I had in like 10 years.
It's embracing who you are.
So for women, I want to say, for women, do you recommend or suggest that they just go natural, or?
I think it's. I write a lot about this.
To embrace it, I know you do.
I write a lot about aging and what it means to aging. I don't say everybody should go gray, because it's a very deep personal issue. If you're comfortable with it, if you're ready for it. My mother went gray when I decided to go gray. My mother's 86, 87 now, and she went gray a year and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
because I went gray.
Really?
So, yeah.
So you gave her permission finally?
Well, it just was looking weird, right?
Yeah.
I mean, her daughter, who's at the time I was in my 50s.
Yeah. It's my mom. She looks younger than I do, but it's the color.
But you know what? She looks younger now.
Yeah.
Gray.
I like it on you, and I've seen it for I don't know how many years. A while. And
I love it.
I love it. There's a couple of people that I've seen in the business go gray, and they work a lot, you know.
So what it was about women,
yeah,
I think it has to do with a lot of different things, with what their skin looks like, what their body looks like. But if you're dyeing your hair and you're thinking you still look like your headshot when you're 30,
right?
But now
if you're in denial about it,
but you've had a couple kids,
yeah.
So your body's not where it was when it was 30. You've got, you know, what we all have, the crow's feet and the skin and everything
the
else
natural, the good old natural.
And you're dyeing your hair the wrong color, which is usually
too dark.
Then it actually looks really harsh on your skin.
Yeah.
You know, it makes you look. So
Yeah, no.
And the commercial I just shot, it was there were 2 spots. There was one with just me, and there's one with 4 of us. One of the girls didn't have enough gray, so they actually
puts gray in. Oh, wow.
In her hair to make her look more gray. But I think at this point in time, I think it behooves all of us of this age to get out there. And one of the issues is advertising used to set the social trend.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody followed what advertising was doing. Now, social media is setting the social trend, and advertisers are looking to social media to put on TV or commercials.
Right.
So to find us, our generation, loosely, on social media, it's really hard because we're not as social media driven as the millennials. So 2 years ago, I was reading an Advertising Age thing and an article, and they said, we can't find them. We want them, we can't find them.
Oh, well.
So I say to mainly women, because that's largely my audience, but also some men read it, I say, okay, the time is now, and we have to become the social trend worth following. Hashtag social trend worth following. So those advertisers can find us to use us. And the only way we can do that is to be proactive in being out there, being seen, being fit, being healthy, being vocal, doing radio shows, doing writing.
Just talking about it and making it more public, right?
And making it not taboo.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm proud I'm 62. You know, I made it this far. You know, it's like, and I've had a great life, and I'm every wrinkle and every scar.
Is there any like big goal for you over the next, say, 5 years or whatever? Do you have a plan or anything that you're looking to accomplish? I know that the Let Go is really personal for you, and I remember talking to you a year and a half or something ago. You were just beginning. You were just talking about it. So I know that's a big thing for you. But like, give me a goal or something that you have for yourself.
Next week, Monday, will be 1 year that I've been with the Let Go weekly.
Okay.
Without a break. My goal is, I have several goals, to write a couple books, some Let Go oriented, some not. But what I really want to do is be a spokesperson for people my age, that I want products that understand what I'm representing, and that's about letting go of all the belief that we no longer need to hold on to, living in the now, embracing who we are, being proud of who we are, and not hiding behind the alterations that we can make to ourselves, not trying to dress like a 20-year-old, not trying to be anything other than who we are in
just
our body
let the shit go. Yeah. Let
can we say that?
You can say whatever you want on here.
Let the shit go.
Yeah, let that shit go. You know, that's funny. I by the way, I love that, and I think as soon as you said it, I go, wow, you're definitely going to have to when my book comes out and I start, if I'm ahead of you in the game, you're definitely going to have to come and talk with me and do a seminar with that. So, by the way, we have like 5 minutes left, so let's make it good. But I agree with that. That's one of my goals is the similar thing. I've written a book now. We're working on the cover art for it, and we're gonna have it published by October. Is the deadline for that now? But when it goes out, it's a workbook, it's a course, and it's a.
I know we talked about that. The process code.
It's a process code. Yeah, good memory.
Yeah.
Yep. So
age hasn't affected that old brain.
Dang, yeah, that's good. Well, that's what it's about. You know, it's unlocking all that crap from your past or from the way you've been programmed.
Is what holds us back.
It's exactly because that's where the fear was created.
Yeah.
You know, you think about all of our.
This is a whole different.
This
show.
is a whole other show. You know, this is what happens when we get to the end of the show and everybody goes, "Wow!" But and that's why I say we'll definitely have you back again for more. But that's this is what it's about. You know, this is the beginning, and it's like planting a seed. So we've kind of planted some seeds with that too for another show and a future of that, which I'm excited about. This is a great outlet for me, and it's a great way to catch up with people I know and trust and appreciate. So again, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
If there's any quick advice that you would want to give to people getting into the business,
quickly, be a professional, be on time, don't make excuses. If you had a really shitty audition, let it go. You'll have another one. Learn from it.
Yeah.
But be professional, and a lot of people don't take commercial acting professionally. They don't show up on time. They don't know their dialogue. They lie about their skill levels when you need them to do something. So take it as a real job interview, because it is an interview. Right. And don't bring your screaming kids that are in the room screaming when you're auditioning with another actor. I think it's really rude.
Yeah.
And I like kids. I'm not putting down kids, but put them in the other room. Because they're distracting you too.
Yeah. If if it's affecting you, it's going to be affecting everyone else. So it's like being in a restaurant. You want to take them outside or somehow.
And it's a job. Yeah. And I would say, if you're not going to go to some corporation, you're not going to Apple Corp with your kid on your hip as you're talking to get a job.
For an interview, absolutely.
You're not going to do
it is personal. What do you think about when this is very common for actors? When they think they had a crappy audition.
Oh, it's so hard.
Right.
It's so hard.
What do you say about that? Like, what can you?
I've had actors want to do it again, and sometimes I let them, but most of the time I say no.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Yeah,
it's you. So, do you think we're
hard.
typically better than we feel, though, or sometimes did it just really suck?
Yeah, sometimes it really sucks.
Wow.
Sometimes you're better. Most of the time, you're probably better than you think.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But sometimes you suck. Just quickly, I know what. So, gazillions of years ago, it was the last audition I ever had. I waited 2 hours to get in. I walked in, and they said, "Tell us your name." "Hi, I'm Charisse Glenn." "Okay, thank you very much." And I left.
That was it.
That was it. Pre-cell phones, I called my agent from a payphone saying, "I am done.
I'm done." Because you were so offended.
I booked the job. It ran 5 years.
Oh my God, that was the one.
American Express.
That's all they wanted. They just wanted your name.
They knew who I was already. They knew that they wanted me.
Yeah.
And so I say, don't assume. Don't assume.
By the way, a lot of times I think it's a kiss of death when the actor or when you're in a callback, for example, and the director and everybody's talking to you and getting involved and saying how much they love you. Those are the ones I don't book.
Yeah, just like, you got to let it go.
Yeah.
You got to walk out of there.
So I just go, oh, wow, that was great. But that's kind of like kiss of death if they're, for me it is. But the ones that I book, I have no feeling whatsoever. I just go, I let it go. I walk out of the room. I go home. I'm not in the car rehearsing my lines. I don't do that. I just go, okay, I did the best I could. Yeah. I showed up. Yeah. That's the biggest part, just showing up.
And I'm going to steal this from another casting director.
Yeah.
We're talking about rejection. He said, "It's not rejection, it's selection." And I went, bravo, that's exactly it. I'm not rejecting you because of who you are. I'm selecting somebody else, but I'm not rejecting you.
Right, because I don't fit that role in whatever role,
so
it all works.
So it's not rejection, it's and that's Josh Rappaport, great casting director, really good acting coach too, by the way.
I know, I've known him for years. He used to be at Danny Goldman's over there a long time
really
ago.
Good acting
I just saw him not too long ago. So, hello, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
If you're watching, there's a lot of people we could reach out to, but we're gonna have to cut this out. Also, if you guys want to subscribe, be a part of this, help donate or sponsor us in any way. We have a Patreon account. We'll have the links on here as well. So it's patreon.com, and I think it's I'm So Vain with a question mark at the end, / I'm So Vain with a question mark. If you'd like to join us and be part of the show, because with the Patreon membership or subscription, we'll also promote your show or promote your business or your book or whatever you have. If you're just an individual watching the show and you're in the middle of the country, wherever you are, we definitely. What's that?
Just an individual.
Just an individual. I mean, meaning you don't have a business or corporation or a storefront that you want us to help promote. We'll talk about you on the show, and we'll give you a little press, a little promotion, so a little airtime. But anyway, thank you so much. We're out of here. It's been great. Charisse, you're awesome. Thank you so much, sweetie. It's
I'll
always
take a
good.
hug.
Oh, hugs are always good. Yeah, for sure. And,
Thank you, everybody.
And we'll
Check
see you
out the
next
Let
week.
Go.
Once again, I'm Sylvain, Josh Carmichael. YouTube us, follow us, subscribe, like us. Be a part of the show. We'll talk to you soon. And we're
That thing
out.
is hot.
You're listening to I'm So Vain with Josh Carmichael, only on LA Talk Radio.